Chelsea Clinton has hit out at Donald Trump, saying that the president has degraded what it means to be an American. Clinton, 38, was discussing why she now responds to attacks on Twitter when she spoke of a changing American culture that she believes was spearheaded by Trump. "I think the way that our president, and many people around him, have not only mainstreamed hate, but mainlined it, is so deeply dangerous," she told The Guardian. Clinton cited reports of rising bullying in schools and said she believed Trump's behavior was partially to blame. "There are, now, thousands of instances in schools across America, where children are citing the president as they're demeaning a little girl, or they're chanting 'build a wall' in an attempt to demean and degrade brown children," she said. "So the reason, now, I no longer ignore it when people say hateful things to me on the street or on social media is, I think we have to shine a light. I think those of us who have platforms to do that have to say this is wrong and unacceptable, so we don't normalize it but try to detoxify what has been unleashed. Because if we don't, we leave a vacuum. And I think the darkness fills that vacuum." The mother of two also hit out at Trump's administration, saying she did not believe he has hired many people who are qualified to do the jobs. "Not only do I want an administration that isn't venal, corrupt, and focused on making life harder for millions of Americans, I also want a competent administration," she said. "So for me, the larger question is the collision of cruelty and incompetence and corruption that we see across the administration." While Clinton hopes that Democrats will be able to repair things from a policy standpoint, she believes there will be plenty more that needs to be fixed. "I think we will still then have work to do on repairing the tone in our country, the exposure of the real racist and sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic and anti-Semitic feeling which is on the right in our country," she said. "A rot that has been exposed." And when it comes to doing that work, Clinton doesn't believe it's enough to have tolerance. "I think one of the big mistakes was, for so long, we focused on tolerance, which I just think is insufficient," she said. "People tolerated casual misogyny, but casual misogyny is maybe the gateway drug." "We have freedom of speech, which I do think is hugely important, and yet people thought you couldn't dispute hateful things, because they're like, well, it's freedom of speech." Well, freedom of speech doesn't mean there is freedom of consequences. Sure, you should not be in prison because you said something racist, but you also shouldn't be able to run for president. And yet here we are.